Okay, let's go ahead and keep moving on ahead with strategies for gaining ground. These are all about strategies for moving forward, for gaining ground, for taking what you want. So we've got 6 of these bad boys. First is point at the mulberry tree, but point at the mulberry, but curse the locust tree. Second, feign madness, but keep your balance. Lure the enemy onto the roof, then take away the ladder. Tie silk blossoms to a dead tree. Exchange the role of guest for that of host. And finally, the strategy of beautiful women. So these are all strategies for gaining ground, for moving forward, for taking something. Let's talk about them. Point at the mulberry, but curse the locust tree. So that means we want to discipline, control, or warn people who we can't confront directly by using allegory and innuendo. If you don't name names, if you don't call these people out directly by their name, they can't respond without revealing themselves publicly. So if somebody's up to no good, you discipline, control, or warn them with allegory and innuendo. Because if you do that, if they respond, they have to reveal themselves publicly. Second, we want to feign madness, but keep our balance. That way we're going to create confusions about our intention and motivation. We're going to make our opponent underestimate our ability. And when he drops his guard, we're going to attack. We want to lure the enemy onto the roof, then take away the damn ladder. So we're going to use baits and tricks to lure the opponent onto dangerous ground. Then we're going to cut off his communication, his lines of communication, and his means of escape. At that point, the opponent has to fight both you and the dangerous ground he's on, the precarious situation that he's in. We want to tie silk blossoms to a dead tree. That means we want to make something of no value seem to have value. We want to make something that's not a threat appear to be dangerous. And we want to make something of no use appear to be useful. Then, we want to exchange the role of guest for that of host. So, we're going to infiltrate the opponent's camp using these strategies. The strategy of cooperation, the strategy of surrender, and the strategy of peace treaties. We're going to discover our opponent's weaknesses, and we're going to attack the source of his strength once we know it. And finally, we have the strategy of beautiful women. We're going to send beautiful women to our opponents to weaken his will and his resolve, and to create discord and jealousy in his camp. So let's go through these one more time very quickly. Strategies for gaining ground. Pointing at the mulberry but cursing the locust tree. So we're going to warn, discipline, or control our opponents by using innuendo and allegory, so they can't respond unless they're ready to reveal themselves publicly. We're going to feign madness but keep our balance. So we're going to create confusion about our intentions and motivations, make our opponent underestimate our ability, and when he drops his ground, bam, we got him. We're going to lure our opponent onto the roof and then take away the ladder. So we'll use baits and tricks to get him on dangerous ground. We'll cut off his lines of communication and all possible means of escape, and then he has to fight both us and the sketchy situation that he's now finding himself in. We want to tie silk blossoms to a dead tree. Make something of no value seem valuable. Make something of no threat seem dangerous. Make something of no use seem useful. We want to exchange the role of guest for that of host. We're going to infiltrate the opponent using the strategy of cooperation, the strategy of surrender, and the strategy of peace treaties. We're going to discover his weaknesses, and then we're going to attack him at the source of his strength. Finally, we're going to use the strategy of beautiful women. We're going to send beautiful women to him to weaken his will, weaken his resolve, weaken his fighting spirit, and create discord and jealousy within his camp. Strategies for gaining ground.